Hey, good evening, everybody. Want to welcome you guys to Conversations with the McQueens. Um, this evening, we're going to discuss how do you know when you meet the right person? How do you know when you meet your soulmate? If there is a such thing as a soulmate, how do you know? Because we tend to meet people and we swear we're in love, because when when you first meet somebody, it always start out good and fresh and everything. So we're gonna have that discussion with you guys this evening. How do you know? How do you know if this is the right person for you? And why do we have a tendency of avoiding those red sign? I mean, those red flags. I'm sorry. Yeah, itch. Uh, yeah, but why we always end up, just ignoring red flags? Because a lot of times the red flags be there. We just tend to ignore them. We overlook them for whatever reason. But why? Why is that? So we're gonna have that discussion this evening. Um, just like me and my wife. Shoot, how do we know that we were the right one for one another? How did I know? How did she know?
I'm the right one for you. We'll talk about that other part
Yeah.
later.
No, you absolutely right. You the right one for me. I'm the wrong one for you. She ignored all the red flags. Every time she ignored them. Now she's stuck. So, but yeah, that's what we're gonna discuss with you guys tonight. So, to start it off, Miss Sonia, how do you know? How do you know? Meeting the right person that person is for you. How do you determine that?
My opinion, it's sometimes really hard to decide that, but for me, it's somebody being real from the very beginning, and you can be real from the very beginning. And when I say real, because of course you don't really know that person to know if they're being real, but um, the way they act, the way they talk, they're not all of a sudden they don't have a phone anywhere to be seen, and you know that their phone is open and they take phone calls, just little bitty intricate things. For me, I've never really cared if it was the right or wrong. I've never thought like that. Told you before. I think we didn't have this show before, but in a previous show we were talking about how you would know you were with the wrong person and you could just deal with it. So we'll get into that later too, again. But for me, it's always just been whatever I wanted. And once I just didn't want it anymore, whatever it could be, I didn't care to move on. I never, ever really thought about the right person, if that makes sense. I've never
Hmm.
thought of, a lot of women, as they're growing up, they want a Prince Charming.
Mhm.
They want that Prince Charming to take care of them and have kids with that Prince Charming. I never thought like that.
Hmm.
I've never thought like that. Now, I've known in the past when I had the wrong person,
Hmm.
and I knew when I got you that I was with the right person. So I guess it's all up to the person who sometimes it can be the right person, and you make them the wrong person. You
Hmm.
know what I
That's
mean? You
interesting.
could have a really, really, really good person, but you're no good.
Huh.
Or you have,
Don't you know
you
no
have,
good? No,
or
no,
when you
no.
were saying, how will I know? All I was singing in my head was Whitney Houston. So, yeah, sometimes it can be the right person because I do
Mhm.
believe, and I always have believed in soulmates. I just never was interested in having one.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Well, you're saying you wasn't interested in not having one, or uh, you just I don't know, because
This is the
yeah.
first relationship I actually put in work to keep it together, along with you, of course. I mean, you put in your own work too, but I've never
Mm,
done that before. I mean, I could be in a relationship with a really good dude, but it's always, I'm going to do what I want to do, and
mm,
I don't question what you do. And when I say that, I don't mean cheating, because that's just not my nature. I just mean I'm not going to really answer to you. And I'm going to concentrate on me and
mm.
my endeavors and what I'm doing. Even in a long term relationship, I never really thought about what we can do as partners to strengthen this relationship and make it good and make it last forever.
Mm.
I just never thought in that box.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is? That was your thought process. That you know, yeah. Why do you think? Because that's
I
interesting.
was about to say, if you guys can't tell, this is really raw. We don't practice this or
Yeah.
anything, so
Oh
my
no.
husband's a little thrown off now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Because we've never had that. I mean, we've had deep conversations, of course, but
mhm.
I'm just learning something new.
Sometimes it's your environment, the way you're raised.
Mm,
So, as you know, I was raised by my mom the first part of my life, and
mm,
I never seen my mom in a relationship ever.
mm,
As far as I knew, she only had one boyfriend, and I only seen him sit on our couch 2 times.
mm,
That's it. Never seen a guy come out of her room,
mm.
never
And
known
you're
her home
saying
life at all.
outside of your dad,
I,
besides your dad.
exactly, but I was 5 when they divorced.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
5. So I never, it's one of those things like with my mom, I never seen her with a partner.
Mm,
And even with my dad, I can't remember one time me, my mom, my dad, and my brothers doing something together or sitting at the table together or having family time together ever,
mm,
ever. So you have that. And then I went to go live with my dad, who has his own level of dysfunction, you know. Um, I'm not going to beat my dad because I love my dad, but
mm,
looking at his relationship, it just is toxic.
mm.
So growing up, I'm just thinking that's how relationships are.
Oh,
They're going to
okay.
do what they want and it's going to
Okay.
be like this. So live your life to be happy. That's my guess.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
my guess.
Okay.
I never, ever seen a healthy relationship.
Okay. I understand.
Ever. I cannot tell you one person in my family that I spent quality time with that I seen a nice, beautiful, healthy relationship
Okay.
and thought, I want that.
Okay. Okay. Now
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
that. I definitely understand. But I tell you what, that says a lot because this is why it's important as parents that we lead by example. That's very important
Amen.
because our kids they are watching. Our kid, and I definitely know that because I know I watched my parents growing up. And till this day, my wife will tell you, I'm always talking about, man, my mom this, my mom that, my mom, and my mom is no longer with us. She passed away. But, it's just those memories. I hang on to those memories dearly, you know, and I'm always talking about my mom, how she did this, how she did that. So, believe me, those things are important. So, guys, please take that into consideration. And a lot of us as adults, we think we can just tell kids verbally, don't do this, don't do that. You better not do this. You better not do that. And the things that we're telling them not to do, we're doing. And not only that we're doing them, but we do it in front of them. And then, so we're doing one thing and we're telling them another. But they're watching. And especially if it's something repetitive, you're doing it over and over. They watch it, and you just don't know how that impacts a kid's life. Yeah, it is amazing. So, me and my wife has had that discussion, and I used to tell her all the time, it's certain things I wouldn't do in front of my kids. Um, it's just it's a whole lot I did not do in front of my kids because I just wanted to, when it comes to my sons, I wanted my sons to see a man, a real man, a gentleman. You know, when it came to my daughter, I wanted my daughter to see how a man is supposed to treat a woman. You know, so my daughter could ever tell you she saw me raise my voice. You know, at my wife or at her mom, ever. You know, so I just try my best not to act out of character, because when a child see that, they're gonna think that's normal. You know that and a whole host of other things. You know, you do a bunch of negative things in front of your child, they're gonna think that's normal. That's what's normal. You normalize that, and believe me, history repeats itself. So, and they're going to repeat those behaviors, and then and then on top of it, we have the nerve to get on our kids for acting the way that they act, not knowing they get it from us. And we have the nerve to get upset. Why do you act like that? What's wrong with you? You know, and then a lot of times they don't even know. Sometimes they don't know, you know, where they get it from. Like they don't realize they've picked up certain habits, certain traits, and certain things. You know, so, but you know, it is what it is. But to get back on hand,
Before you do,
go ahead.
and I was going to tell you to get back on track, but just to show, as I said earlier, we don't talk about this. I mean, we'll come up with a subject,
Okay.
and that's it. We don't discuss what's going to be in the subject. I wasn't going to say this, but now I have to.
Okay.
I have my own podcast, right? I do my own podcast called Your Mind, Your Body, Your Choice. Today I did a show, and my husband isn't around when I do the shows, and I posted it right before this podcast. And my podcast today is about what if your kids are just like you? And I even say in it,
I didn't even know that.
of course you did. I even say in it,
Wow.
Parents have a tendency to say, do as I say, not as I do. But the character you're showing your kids is often what they're going to do. And then we get mad at them for acting the way we act.
Yeah.
And you just said the exact
That's crazy.
same. And that's how I know he's my soulmate. we finish each other's sentences.
Yeah, we do.
We start to say the same thing at the same time so often.
We do.
I think we even have to pee at the same time. It's absolutely crazy. But it is honestly crazy how I just did that show today. And he hasn't heard it. He wasn't, around when I did my show. And I posted it right before this. So even if he knew I did a show and went and looked, he has no idea what it's about. You know what I'm speaking. And he just said everything that my show was about.
Wow.
Good job, Sonia's husband.
Yeah, but
now we can get back on track.
But yeah, guys, I think oftentimes, like I said, we meet someone and, we're goo gaga, now whether that person has a very good conversation. So, and because that person has a very good conversation, now you feel a connection. The chemistry is good, or whether it be the person has a really good job, got a lot going for themselves, very established, or whether that person is just extremely good looking. And we're really infatuated with that because they look like a trophy piece, and yeah, so whatever it is, it's so many different things that attract us as individuals to another individual, and oftentimes we home in on that one thing, that we're attracted to and that we like about that person. And when we home in on that, we cling on to it and we hang on that one or two things. Now, a person be having a host of all these other things wrong with them. And we'll deal with it. We'll put up with it all because of those one or two good things about that person that we like. And then if somebody asks, you know, somebody asks you, what is it that you like about this person? Or what is it that you love about this person? And they'll just say one or two things. And then you be sitting there, okay. And then you're like, oh, that's it? Yeah, but they good. They wasn't always like that, or So my thing is this. We used to have a dog named Biggie. Yeah, I bought the dog for my wife for Mother's Day. It was a Mother's Day gift to my wife. She wanted a dog. I didn't necessarily want a dog, but my wife wanted a dog, so I went out and bought her a dog. He was like a bull mastiff, I think, mixed with lab, something like that. But he was a beautiful, beautiful dog. Huge dog. When I bought him, he was already, I think, a year and a half.
He wasn't quite a year, I don't know.
Okay.
But he was huge.
Okay. But he was huge.
Muscle.
Yeah, all muscle. Beautiful dog, beautiful coat. And, of course, bringing him into a new house, he was nervous at first. So he was tearing up the furniture and boo-booing all over the place or whatever because he just was nervous, trying to get used to this new environment. So, of course, eventually, slowly but surely, he adjusted. And, he became to love the family, especially me and my wife. We kind of knew that we were the parents or whatever. And, like all dogs, animals have, their senses are definitely a little more heightened than humans. So when he loved you, when Biggie loved you, he loved you. But when he didn't like you, he didn't like you. And he'll let it be known that he didn't like you. So certain individuals, he didn't like. It was very few. But certain individuals he didn't like. So when they came over to the house, he was very uncomfortable. And anyway, what happened one day, he turned around and he bit a family member. Now, mind you, like I said, it's a very loving, fun-filled dog. He was one of those dogs that were, mild-mannered, but at the same time, you had another dog call himself trying to puff up at him or whatever. He gonna handle his business, and he was a protector. My wife would walk him, if any dog or anybody act like they wanted to approach her, he'd protect my wife, as well as myself. We let him out in the backyard, let him run around or whatever. One time my brother came by.
But before you tell that story, you gotta tell the pre-story about the water and hanging with Biggie.
Yeah, I mean, my brother, the thing is, my brother, he had stayed with me for a short period of time. So he him and Biggie like hit it off real good. You know what I'm saying? They would hang out in the den together. And my brother would take them walking.
Biggie didn't like him at first.
Yeah, at first. Yeah, he did. That's true. But Biggie, they became, the best of friends.
Brothers.
So my brother, he moved out. He had moved out. So I want to say he had been gone maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. But a dog, they recognize you really by a scent. If you know dogs, animals, they really go by scent. And I mean, they'll know who you are by sight as well. But definitely, if you've been gone for a while, that's why they'll sniff you or whatever. They go by scent. But anyway, my brother had left a bike in my shed when he moved out. He had a bike there. So he comes back over to the house. He knocked on the door. I wasn't there. So he wanted to come get his bike out of the shed in the backyard. So I wasn't there, so he decided, well, bro, not here. I'm gonna just go back here in the backyard and get my bike. So he started to go back there in that backyard, and Biggie was back there. So like I said, Biggie know who he is. He know who Biggie is. So he thought everything was cool, but everything wasn't cool.
Not for Biggie.
Not for Biggie. Biggie was on some. Nah, hold up. I know you used to probably live here a couple of months ago, but you don't live here no more. So you can't come in this game. So I don't know what you're thinking, but you can't come in this game. So he couldn't. Biggie wouldn't let him in the gate. Biggie would not.
He came in the gate.
But I think he had to run back out.
He had to run back out and jump over the gate because Biggie wasn't having that.
Mind you, my brother ain't no small dude. I can only picture that.
Biggie couldn't use the front door and spring the bell.
Pretty much. But yeah, he couldn't get that bike. Long story short, he couldn't get that bike. But anyway, Biggie, once again, another family member, he ended up, the family member was in the house and they were talking with my wife. And I think they went to hug my wife. They went to hug you.
Fixing my crown.
Oh, okay.
It was our wedding day.
Right. And Biggie, the dog, he took that, I guess, as an aggressive gesture or whatever. And he went into protective mode. So he bit the family member. He didn't bite and then lock on or anything like that. It was just a quick, but that's all it takes for a big dog or sharp canines. He just bit the family member on the hand. The family member was bleeding or whatever. So when that happened, I felt really bad, really bad. That's something that had never happened before. It was, out of the blue or whatever. But we ended up, because that happened, we ended up taking Biggie to the Humane Society, because I didn't want to run the risk. And my daughter, she was younger at the time, Farrah, even though Biggie loved her, but still, I just didn't want to run the risk. And plus, for whatever reason, he had kind of got defiant because we didn't play that him, sitting on the couch, on the furniture and all that. And he was defiant, man. He started, getting up on the couch and not just getting up on the couch. He snoring sleep, And every day I would have, when I get up in the morning, I would have to, wake his butt up, getting him off the couch or whatever. So, like I said, so I ended up, taking him back to the Humane. But it was sad because we all loved the dog, And, it's just a good thing that I noticed those things about the dog. And then when I noticed those red flags, I went on ahead just to be on the safe side. We got rid of them. And like I say, we loved that dog. So it wasn't like just some dog, like, oh, no, we loved the dog, the whole family, my kids, everybody, we loved the dog. But we had to get rid of it, you know what I'm saying? Because, although we love the dog, but I love my family more. And I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect my family, And the reason for that whole story is, we tend to overlook red flags like that and keep the dog. You know what I'm saying? We overlook red flags and I said dog, but I mean now I'm talking about people. We overlook red flags with people. And like I said, all we want to hold on to is all the good times and the good things, and hoping that the person gets better or whatever. And don't get me wrong. Sometimes people do get better. Sometimes people don't get better. Sometimes people get even worse. But I think that's a habit we have as human beings. We overlook those things, all those negative things, and especially it be, the negative kind of outweigh the good, and we overlook that because, like I said, we hold on to those one or two good things. And like I said, and if somebody asks us why you love such and such, we only got one or two things to say, and then that's it. You know, and then everybody else can see around you that this person is no good for you. Everybody can see it. You know, and man, how crazy is that to go to the family cookout or something, you know, and nobody in the family really likes this person, that you're with, your partner. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, on your side of the family likes this person. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. Very uncomfortable. Because, like I say, and not like them because they probably just don't like how you're being treated. They can see the mistreatment, but you can't see it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just got to be, just extremely uncomfortable. So I don't know, but why do you put up with the foolishness?
I only put up with it from you. I didn't put up with it from anybody else. But I do also want to say, people, sometimes it's not the one or two things that make them stay, it's the comfort. Maybe there's nothing, and they just are comfortable, or they don't want to be alone. So why should I go out there and have to find somebody else? Because some people just don't like to be alone. You and I spoke about that before.
Right.
They have to have somebody, and I'd rather be with this sorry person than be alone.
Okay.
So it's not always that. And I honestly cannot, I've told you the story before about the young lady whose husband used to beat her tail. And she would tell me and a friend of mine at the time, Kim, these stories. And we were having a party. I was having a party one time, and she was there, and her husband came to the party and slapped her. Grabbed her by your head and started dragging her. So what do? Me and Kim jumped him. Beat the heck out of him, protecting our friend. And guess what happened?
Of course they ended up back together.
Not only that, well, they didn't even separate. But she stopped talking to us.
Of course.
Exactly. She stopped talking to us. And I'm thinking, you'd rather be with somebody who's whipping your tail and disrespecting you in public. And they had kids, so you don't know how he was acting at home, but we know what she was telling us. And sometimes you never know what makes somebody act like that. But I know she was at the party and she was behaving herself. But my whole point is, she'd rather put up with that than to be alone with her kids, not knowing, might have been the last time I ever spoke to her. She might not even exist anymore. You just never know why somebody puts up or deals with somebody for long term, especially somebody like me who has zero patience and have no problem ending a relationship, the blink of an eye, and moving on with myself. As I said earlier in this is the first time I put in any effort to be a good person and keep a relationship going. And it's not hard. It's really effortless, but it's because of my partner. You're a pain in the ass, but the relationship, it's not like I get up and think, man, I got to do this, or he's going to be upset, or I got to do that. I can be me. And even when I don't care for something you say or do, I can tell you and just keep it moving. Because we have open communication. Now, you can't do the same with me, but I can do it with you. That's all that matters. So,
yeah, but definitely being in any relationship, it takes a lot of hard work. It's not easy being in a relationship, being married or whatever. That's not an easy thing. So, two people coming together, It's definitely going to be a lot of things that are going to make you uncomfortable, things that you don't like about your partner or whatever, but you work through those things. You got to work through those things because especially if it's worth it. Now, it has to be worth it. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And what makes it worth it is, like I say, having more positive and more good things than negative things going on in your relationship. So if you really sit back, really take the time out and just sit back and say, well, you know um, what are some of the good things in my relationship? What are some of the good things about my partner in my marriage? And man, if you can just go down the list and just think about all these good things, and that list towers over the negative or bad things, that's definitely a reason to stay. Outside of abuse. I'm not saying, because a person can have a long list of good things, but like my wife just explained, but you can be in an abusive relationship with someone. Nothing trumps that. You can't say, oh, well, I got all these good things or whatever, but yeah, they hit me and they abused me, but that don't compare to. So, but outside of anything, like I said, outside of abuse, then I think working on your relationship is well worth it. On those negative things, it's well worth it. But once again, man, we meet people, and like I say, even sometimes out the gate, the red flags are there. Out the gate, we can meet somebody and we can catch that person in quite a few lies, but we're so caught up, like I said, whatever those other things are that attracted you to that initially attracted you to the person, then we'll be stuck on that. And we just overlook so many different things, man. We really will. We'll overlook all kinds of stuff. We'll overlook the fact that they mistreat their parents, talk to their parents in the kind of way. We'll overlook the fact that they mistreat their kids, treat their kids in the kind of way, talk to their kids. We'll overlook that stuff. It's just so many different things that we overlook just to be with somebody. Just to be with somebody. And then when, you guys really get into the relationship or whatever, and the person started exhibiting those behaviors towards you that they already showed you, then you have a nerve to say, well, where did this come from? You was, I don't recall you being this way. You wasn't there. They've always been, and they showed you that they was that way, but you just overlooked it, and like I said, maybe they was mistreating other people. And then always had, and one thing about it, they always have an excuse because everybody else wrong but them. Everybody else wrong but them. And they got a reason as to why nobody likes them. Yeah, they got a good reason. Nobody likes them. Everybody is against them. And, we like the person so much or fall in love with the person, we want to believe what they say. We want to believe them, that the world is against them. And you can't overlook that because everybody's not wrong. All these people not wrong. Not a whole host of people. I mean, it's got to be some truth there somewhere in there. But I don't know. Human nature, man. And like my wife said, a lot of times we deal with so much stuff and a lot of stuff just for the simple fact we don't want to be alone. We're afraid of being alone. And I don't know. I don't know. You afraid of being alone this
Hell
time?
no. Told you this doesn't really hit me at all. The only part that really hits me is the soulmate part. So, and you said at the beginning of this podcast, if there is even such a thing, And I know that's for people who don't believe in it.
Mm.
But maybe I never believed in soulmates until you. And I know that sounds corny, but it's absolutely true. There were too many things lined up. I didn't even live in the state. And somebody had already professed that my husband was here. And I wasn't even looking for a husband when I got here, but the same person, and we've said this before, so I'm not going to draw this out. The same person called me. I had never posted about him. I'm not a big post person anyway, but never posted, never told anybody about Q, nothing. And she called me and said, "Are you dating somebody?" And I was laughing. I was like, "Yeah." And she said, That's him. That's your husband. That's your mate. That's who God sent you to be with." And it was just amazing because the same day, the exact same day, Q told me that he knew from the time he met me I was going to be his wife. And it was just amazing. There were so many parts before that that even got me here. But and he won't know what this date is, but from April 27th, 2014, we have been together almost every single day. And I can honestly say the person he is today is way better than the person he was when I met him. And I believe the person I am today is way better than the person he met back then. But I believe both of us really were ourselves.
Right.
And we were open to improving that person, not to appease the other person, but because it's just better to be a better person sometimes.
Right. Absolutely.
And I already knew my shortcomings. I didn't have the best temperament, and I don't like to be told anything by anybody, and so on and so forth and so on. And I've improved on those things greatly, and I can honestly say it's because of my spouse. So I know for a fact I'm a better person than I was in 2014. And I know other people see it. My mom be calling people. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's nice. I don't think she's fighting anymore. Shoot, and blah, blah, blah. And she gives all praise to him for it. And it's not all him. But if you're with the right person, you do want to be a better person. And it's not just to keep that person. It's because it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely have done that.
Absolutely.
He still can't tell me anything without me rolling my eyes, though. So he don't care.
But yeah, guys, definitely, when you're meeting someone, you definitely need to make sure you pay attention. Now, me and my wife, we don't have all the answers and tell you, exactly what you need to be looking for. But we both can tell you some things that, you shouldn't accept or deal with. And once again, like I said, it's just those simple red flags, and we all are familiar with them, and we know. So you got to set your standards. Set your standards. And that's the number one thing. You got to have standards, because if you don't have standards, then of course you'll deal with anything and anybody. So you got to set your standards. Now those standards, in my opinion, they shouldn't be too high, and they definitely shouldn't be too low. But those standards should fall somewhere in the middle. And when I say fall in the middle, meaning you're not going to meet the perfect person, because nobody's perfect. So if you got this long list of stuff that this person need to have this, they need to have that, they need to be this, they need to be that. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to meet that individual. I'll tell you that right now. But that individual definitely needs to fall somewhere in the middle of that list. Like I said, they may not have all the stuff you want, but they need to be somewhere in the middle. And then as you guys, progress in a relationship, then you work on those things. And like my wife said, and then you make each other better. Not just one person making the other person better, but you make each other better. You complement each other's lives. And I think that's what makes a long lasting good relationship. And that's what, to me, can make a person become your soulmate. You know, I don't think people just, like I say, start out being just, automatically good for each other. We think that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I say, we be caught up in a relationship being so brand new, and you be like, "Oh man, it's the perfect person," or whatever. But it be some flaws there. 9 times out of 10, it's always some stuff there, and we just tend to overlook it. And then later on, that stuff starts to come out. But uh, definitely, guys, try to look for, you know, try your best when you meet somebody, and if you're really serious and you really want, something long lasting and loving with the individual, then don't overlook those red flags. Don't overlook those negative things. Like I said, especially those things that's just a complete deal breaker. Because you got to set your standards, and you got to say to yourself, you know what, this I'm just definitely not gonna deal with. Not this. I'm not gonna tolerate this. I'm not dealing with that. You know. And then some things you can compromise on. Some things you may not like, or you may not want, a little iffy, but okay, because maybe that person can work on those things and get better at it. And I'm gonna tell you, if a person truly, truly care about you and love you, you definitely, the person will be willing to change some things and work on some things. Like my wife said, just to even become a better person, as well as to make you happy. Because being in a relationship is a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of give and take. A lot. Constantly. It's a lot of sacrifice involved. So you gotta be willing, to take a lot. You gotta be willing to put up with a lot. A whole lot.
I think this show's all about you. You don't put up with much, y'all.
Did I say you gotta be willing to put up with a lot? But if you guys are willing to do, those things, it's like I said, me and my wife, we don't have all the answers, but we know what works for us in our marriage, in our relationship. And as time goes on, it gets better, and I'm gonna tell you this: if you're in a marriage and you're in a relationship, and as time goes on, it gets worse. 9 times out of 10, that person is not for you, because it's supposed to get better. And that's the way wine and liquor is determined to be good. Aged liquor, aged wine, especially wine. The more it's aged, the better it is. And that's how your relationship is supposed to be. The more time, the more age that relationship is, the more time go by, the better it's supposed to be. The more you're supposed to fall in love, not the opposite. Not time goes by, or you're growing out of love, things are getting worse, you guys are just not on the same page, then more than likely that's not the person for you. And you find yourself always complaining over and over about your mate, and that's a sign that may be a sign that this relationship is just not for the both of you. Yeah, so maybe you guys may need to be thinking about an exit, or once again, and me and my wife say this all the time, if you truly love someone and you think it's some hope there, some potential there, then get some therapy, get some couples therapy. And I think everybody, each and every person, needs to get some kind of therapy on their own, whether it's professional or just a friend that's level-headed enough, to give you some very good intuitive advice, just some very good advice, and neutral advice. Not a person who's going to jump on your bandwagon, but a person who's going to stay neutral. But what's most important about that, though, you have to be very upfront, and you got to be able to tell both sides. Because a lot of times we'll tell a friend some stuff about what's going on in our relationship, and we're going to tell our version, and we're going to make the other person look bad. Now, if you truly want the relationship to work, you truly love the person, and you truly want some good advice, then you tell the whole story. You tell both sides. You got to tell the things that you did as well. So don't just give a one-sided narrative. Then it's hard for a person to give you some good advice that way. But once again, I can't say that enough. I think we all need some type of therapy. We need individual therapy, because everybody got something going on with them. Something, has taken place in their life that affected them, and they may not even know that it has affected them. And it shapes your character, it shapes your personality, and it be some things going on in us that we don't know. We can't see. Everybody else can see it, but we can't. So this is the reason I tell you, everybody needs some form of therapy. Some form of therapy. Don't think because you're getting therapy that you're crazy. All right, everybody want to equate that. Oh, you getting therapy? You seeing a therapist? Oh, you must be crazy. Nah. We go through some things that traumatize us, and like I said, sometimes we're traumatized and don't even realize it. We don't know. So everybody needs some form of therapy. Now, after you get some therapy for yourself, and you're able to talk to a therapist, or like I said, or a level-headed individual who you can confide in and get some good advice from, then you need to get some couples therapy if you're trying to be in a relationship. You need therapy as a couple, and like what I'm saying is, you need therapy as a couple if it's some issues, like you got some serious issues going on, and you guys can't seem to get along, or get it together. Then you need some couples therapy. If it's worth it, and you can see that this relationship is worth holding on to, especially if kids are involved. You got kids together and all that stuff. And you want to try to make it work, then get you some therapy. And I know us as men, we frown upon that. We think we can handle. We don't need nobody to tell us what to do. We can take care of this ourselves. I don't want nobody in my business, all up in my business. We don't need no therapy, man. That's for crazy people, whatever. Yeah, if you want your relationship, and like I say, because if your relationship's not working, you see it ain't working now, then somebody need to come in there. Same way a football game, a basketball game, a baseball game cannot be played without a referee. Boxing match cannot go on without a referee. You need somebody in there that's going to be impartial and that when you're out of pocket, or you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. Because if not, you're gonna have total chaos. So guys, if you love football the way I do, then you need a referee in your life. Like I said, because you need some order. And that's one of the things that most of us, it's a breakdown in communication. We think we got it down pat. We think, we know it all, and we can fix it ourselves. But a lot of times, we can't fix it ourselves. A lot of times we need a mediator. We need somebody to come in and help us fix ourselves and fix our relationships. So that's my advice to you guys. Our advice to you guys. Our opinions. Everything we tell you guys may not necessarily be a fact, but it's our opinion, and we're speaking from our experiences. We don't speak on anything that we have not experienced. Done? Um, any closing words, Miss Son?
Well, I do want to say that if your standards are low or if they are what I'll call it silly, don't expect anything more than what your request was. And I say that for the person who just cares that the person has a lot of money. They might have a lot of money, but that money might come with a lot of things that you didn't request, but that was your only standard, the money. If you're earlier, I was saying to my husband, if you're somebody who likes a body, a thickum or something, and that's what you get, don't be upset when that thickum comes with all these other issues because your only request was a thickum. You could ask for a well-built person, but have this personality trait, that personality trait. And something I was going to say earlier, the way somebody treats the people around them when you first meet them. If their own family don't care for them, or if they're always coming around and they have kids, but those kids are never with them, ever. Those are issues.
Right.
Those are issues. If you come before anybody's children, that's a huge issue. I know that might turn some people on. Oh, she'd rather spend time with me or he'd rather spend time with me. That's a problem. That's a problem. When you're not married and you have children, your children are first. Your children are first. Once you get married, that spouse is first, and together the kids are taken care of by you and your mate. Period. So I had one more point, but I don't remember it right off the top of my head, so I'm going to leave that there.
That's what you call old folks problems right there.
Auntie told me I could use that excuse.
Hey, but it's the wrong time.
Oh, okay, my bad.
You ain't using it right.
My bad. Oh, I know.
Okay.
As long as you love yourself and you love yourself with your whole heart, you don't put up with a lot of BS. You're not going to let somebody come in and treat you badly because you know your worth.
That's right.
You know your worth. And when you honestly know your own worth, and I don't mean putting yourself up on a pedestal so high your feet don't touch the ground, but you just know I'm a queen, I'm a king, and I deserve somebody to match my energy. When somebody comes in and they can be fine, but they don't match your energy, you have no problem saying, you know what, this isn't going to work because you love you. Yeah. And you know you have a worth more than what that person's telling you it is. You know what it is coming into the game. You don't need nobody else to tell you that. So that's my point.
Oh, that was nice to hear, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, you definitely got to love yourself first. So, all right. Well, I guess that's it, Miss Sonia. That's it for this evening. I guess we'll see you guys next time. So we hope, our words of wisdom, help somebody out in their relationship. That's why we do this. We're here to try to help people have a long-lasting, loving, happy relationship because everybody wants to be happy. So, and that's why we do this.
Very good.
Yeah. So all right, guys, we're signing off. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, and we appreciate you guys giving us your listening ear. Good night, Miss Sonia.
You leaving?
Yeah, I'm going home.
All right.